Hello everyone and welcome to our second session of Art Stars. I am super excited to be working with you today. I am so happy that Rosetta has come up with this way of us being distant but together and keep working on our artistic skills. For today's lesson, you will need a pencil. Make sure it's nice and sharp, or grab a sharpener if it's not, and rubber. Then your notebook or some blank paper. You should have all received your kits by now. Please let us know if anybody hasn't, and we'll look into that. So without further ado, our session today is animal anatomy. And I know how many of you love to draw animals, so I thought we could spend a little bit of time today breaking it down and showing you how you can approach animals that you've never drawn before. To do that, I thought we could take a little trip down to the Natural History Museum. I've provided you with some links, and in particular, we've got the Wildlife Photographer of the Year exhibit. And there's these amazing young photographers. Some start as young as 5-6 years old, and they all enter into the competition as well in different age categories. And honestly, their work is amazing. You would assume that it's just an adult professional photographer doing these. So I thought we could take a little look through those, and I've chosen one of the images already as our starting point. Let me show you what we're going to be working with today. It's this amazing antelope mid-jump. So obviously the pose is as important as the shape of the animal, because depending on what angle we're looking at it, it's going to change, right? So we are going to look at this beautiful image. I have it in the computer right in front of me, so I can keep referencing it every time that I'm lifting my eyes from my paper. And so how we start this is by drawing a lot of circles and ovals to represent the shape of the animal. So let me position you to my paper and we can get started. So here we are. I am gonna use my paper landscape. You can turn your notebooks, and I find spiral up is the most comfortable way of working a landscape notebook. And we first start by observing our animal. And so really look at all the little shapes that make up this animal. If you could put on X-rays and, like Superman, start looking through the skin of this animal, what would you see in the way the muscles and the bones connect to each other? And so that's what we're gonna use as our guide for the ovals. So I'm going to start with the body, because I think with animals it's easier to start with the body than the head. As always, check the pressure of our pencil. Do a few dark lines, a few medium lines, and then a few very, very light lines. Like so. Okay? Once we've got our pressure familiarized, we can start with our very, very lightest touch to create the ovals. And this is because we're then going to go over some of those shapes and rub out little sections that we don't need. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the torso. And I can see that it's a lovely long oval, right? Then the hip area is kind of a circle, a little bit further away. So we're going to start with the circle here. And then I can move into my head and neck. So they're somewhere over here. There's the little muzzle and the neck. I'm then going to start looking at sort of other shapes in between. So I can see the front leg, which is a bit recoiled, would create like another little circle here. And then the leg comes out from there. Every time you've got a joint that moves, knees, elbows, vertebra, make sure to draw a little tiny circle for that one to represent the breaking point or the movement point of that animal. Right, we do another little one, and they've got another little like ankle here. So I'm going to do another little drawing there, a little circle, and then we'll go for the other front paw behind the neck, and that's a very thin oval as well. Another little circle for the ankle and the paw. Let's go back to the back side of this antelope, and we've got, coming off of our circle here, we've got a kind of hip joint. Then we've got our hind thighs coming in this way, another knee joint, and then the rest of the leg. And this one, the second hind leg is almost hidden behind it. So I'm just going to do a few lines here to reference that follows the same line. Finally, let's go back to our head and look at some of the smaller details. So I'm going to go ahead and make my head maybe a little bit bigger here and my neck a little bit thicker. Then we've got these beautiful horns coming through. I'm going to draw another oval for the ear, and because of the angle that we're looking at the ear, we only see almost like a sliver of it. So I'm going to do a very thin oval for that. Mark out the eye, beautiful big round eye. And finally, the nostril, which is somewhere over here. I feel like this oval's a bit long. I'm gonna make it a bit shorter. And you can always adjust as you're going along. And oh, finally the tail. We left out the tail. So that goes a bit like that. And then there's a little curl. All right, now that we've got our main ovals, and you can start seeing the structure forming of this antelope, we're going to start connecting our ovals and shapes. So in between the torso, we kind of have a bit of a dip on both sides. So this is going to come gently here and gently here. And you maybe start making slightly darker lines when you're connecting these. Start creating your shape. And you'll find that muscles, sometimes one shape flows into the other. So, for example, here, I kind of want to go from the thigh all the way down to my knee here. And you can start working in the little sharper shapes in as well. Okay. And as we're sort of drawing these shapes in and making a clearer outline of our animal, we can start very gently rubbing out our first references. Make sure you don't rub them all out. For example, where I had these two circles joining, the muscle kind of follows that line naturally. So I'm going to leave a little bit of it in between and just rub out this section. Very important to always keep looking back and checking with your first image. Right, so we're going to put in the second leg just behind here. And when things are further away, they tend to finish slightly above. They would seem shorter because they're further away. So see, this leg ends a little bit before this leg ends, right? Then let's carry up our torso. With this line, I'm going to do a little bit like we did back here. You can kind of see a dip between the antelope's hips and chest, almost where his stomach is. There's a bit of a dip there. So we're going to carry on with our chest here. And same on the chest, this little dip of the stomach area. I'm going to rub out half of this circle here. Now we're going to carry through to the neck, and it almost follows a smooth shape all the way to the head. This is one beautiful line mid-jump. And then here, the sort of jowl of the antelope comes above the neck. So we're gonna shoot this one down, and again this one beautifully comes in and connects to the chest almost in a straight line. And then you've got this beautiful muscle here that I'm gonna remark. But you can see in the movement, this thigh part kind of comes above that. So here's where we start sort of rubbing out and cleaning our lines a little bit. And you can start seeing it come together. Right? This one is a little bit more angular. And then same here, this one comes above this. It's nice to always kind of look where there is a bent limb or a folded something. What part of skin comes above the other part? So here's a bit smoother. Now that lovely back leg. And let's go back up to the face. Now I'm going a little bit faster now because I want to show you, but take as much time as you need on this. Sometimes the slower we go, the better it is. All right, lovely. the eye. Okay. And finally the horns. Which end up kind of pointed, so we're going to put in a bit of that shape now. And you can kind of see the other antler behind it. Okay, so now we've got our basic structure done. We can start putting in some more of the shading and the detail and the texture that comes into this antelope. So I like going to my darkest line and putting in some of the detail. Like for example, while we're here on the antlers, they've got these lovely black lines that kind of indent and give a beautiful texture to this horn. I'm going to do the lines a bit separate so that we can tell that it's two antlers. Whereas if I continued one line here, it'd be very hard to tell one apart from the other, and it almost might look like a double horn. So that's a nice little trick of sometimes using texture to differentiate different parts that are very close together. Now I'm gonna go, while I'm with my dark shade, I'm gonna go in and do the spots that are really dark, the black of the hoofs, and lots of little lines. That's how I like to start filling in these dark parts, because I feel like it gives it more texture the more lines that you do. Right, and he's got a bit here, and we've got a bit here. Let's go to the hind legs and do the same. It's got a bit of darkness here at this sort of equivalent of his knees, I guess. And here, to separate one leg from the other so they don't become one big mush, I might leave a tiny gap of white, just to remind myself that that's a different part there. And then maybe we can come in and sort of cement this line with really nice dark outline. Okay, then we've got the tail, which has nice lovely little hairs that stick out. So again, with our lines, you maybe want to follow the lines of the fur. Have a look at which direction the fur's flowing. For example, here at the back, it kind of starts a bit this way along the spine, but then starts breaking towards the sides. And following that movement of the fur. Then maybe this detail here of the shade behind the ear. The eyes, we can go in and do a nice color. I always like leaving that little glimmer of white in the eyes, even if you can't see it on the photograph. It just gives it a bit more dimension, I think. And we'll do the nostril as well, nice and dark. And maybe this line of the mouth. Okay, so that's starting to look a bit closer to the picture now. Now we can move back to our medium darkness line. And again, trying to keep that texture of the fur means you might sort of move to where there's that medium shade of the antlers, kind of beautiful auburn brown fur. And always looking back to see how this fur moves. My computer screen keeps going back to sleep, so I have to wake it up so I can look at my picture again. All right, we are getting there. And on this part, you can spend as long as you need. Please, 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 because texture can really change an entire image. If you really spend some time kind of making sure the fur's coming through. Gonna go with a very, very light, mixing back between very light and medium to where the wider or lighter color fur is. And he's got some crazy whorls in his fur. Some of them go a bit like a cow's lick. So let's kind of try and imitate that a little bit. And you can always come in and decide, like I think this is a little bit light still, so I'm going to add lots more lines to make it a little bit darker. And it's good to just keep control of the pressure here, because once you're putting in texture, if like here where I've done a slightly darker line, you kind of want to rub it out. It's a lot harder because you're going to wipe out a lot of your texture. So it's always better to go back and add a little bit more darkness than it is to have to then go back and rub it out and then redo a big section. Here it's kind of darker at the bottom than it is at the top. And there we go. I'm going to add a little bit more in the tail. We've got the study of our antelope mid-jump. Let me get it a little bit closer. And there we go. So now that we've done our antelope, I'd like you to go back, have a look at the exhibit, process all the pictures, and pick one, ideally one of those portraits that has only one animal in them rather than one of those faraway shots. And I want you to try and recreate this technique of starting with the ovals and then adding the technique with another animal. There's beautiful pictures out there. And then for homework, I want you to try and really bring out the texture of that particular animal. And once you take a picture of your black and white shading, you are welcome to take a bit of the colored crayons and add a bit of color to that. And try and use the same technique as with a pencil. So with colored pencils, we can kind of create that same texture with the pressure. And so our very light lines, medium lines, and dark lines will kind of create a bit more movement and more depth within your image. I will see you at 12 for any questions that you have. I am so looking forward to seeing your work today. And we'll see you then. Thanks. Bye.